various different great Jewish rabbis, personalities, chazanim. Also, so today we are going to speak about a famous chazan. His name was Chazan Rachamim Amar, who was born right at the end of the 19th century in 1898, and he passed away in 1975, actually in November, and we happen to be in November at the moment. I think 7th of Kislev marks the date of the famous chazan's Hilula. So he was one of the great, let's just say, Sephardi chazanim of Jerusalem during the 20th century. Very, very famous figure in of itself, and someone I think we've actually possibly mentioned about inside this series on several occasions. So I thought it would be key to actually speak about him. Also, they've spoken about various other chazanim also, so it's not the first time we are speaking about famous cantor, as they say here in Hebrew. Okay, his name was Rachamim. He was, as they say, a great inside the music industry in of itself. He was someone very, very famous in Israel, respectively. And I think he was born actually in Jerusalem. His father's name was Menachem. Menachem, I think his father actually happened to have been born in Saloniki originally in Greece, and his other family his mother's name was Esther. She came from the Parnes family also, so very, very interesting. I think an 18th generation family of Jerusalem, if I'm not mistaken. Now, while he was young, he would start already. He was connected to music, I think, connected to in the Greek sphere, the Turkish sphere in of itself, the tunes, and he would learn, I think, in the Conservatorion Yerushalayim. I think that's where he would actually study his music, and his talent, vast amounts of talent, would really get, let's just say, shining to a greater level at the point. I think it was actually in English called the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance. I think it was located actually in the Givat Ram campus in Hebrew University of Israel. And remember, of Jerusalem, I think we actually did a live tour, if you recollect, in Hebrew University. So I think we actually went around that specific vicinity in itself, but that was seemingly was where he would actually, let's say, nurture his brilliant music talents in of itself, and really go on to shine, as we're going to see as a video progresses. Anyone tuning in live, we are exploring a bit of the life of Rachamim Amar, famous Jewish cantor. So please, anyone that's tuned in live, subscribe to our channel. We've got fantastic content over here of Jewish wisdom and so on and so forth. Please join our community and subscribe at the moment. We'll appreciate it. Okay, so then he would keep working as play the trumpet, for example, and various other different musics in of itself inside that specific sphere. So remember, at that point in time, especially Sephardic music was really brilliant and really joyous in of itself. So he would be studying in this famous place at this Jewish conservatory, and I think he was a player, if I'm not mistaken, inside the famous British orchestra, if I'm not mistaken. בהמשך שימש כנגן החצוצרות בתזמורת המשטרה הבריטית. Within regards for the British Police Orchestra, he would be over there playing the trumpet, I think possibly even violin also. So he began playing various instruments and will bring about, let's just say, this polished musical part to, especially the beginning part of his career. He would also play, I think, in musicals, and taught himself the mandolin and the various other things. So I'll just state what it says over here in Hebrew. It says, "V'af bana mispar klei brita ma'oltraim bahem nigen b'tchilat darko. בהמשך ניגן גם על עוד ומנדוליה, ולמד בכוחות עצמו את תווי הנגינה." That's very, very interesting. He would actually teach that to himself. Then come what year 1919, I think it was, he would get married to Miriam. She also, I think, came from a very well musical backgrounded house in of itself, I believe. But not 1950. Come what the year 1950, he would then at that stage in time continue, let's just say, he would found and was taking part, let's just say, in broadcastings in of itself, especially on the radio, I think connected to one of the segments of the Kol Yisrael radio stations, if I'm not mistaken, that actually was formed in the year 1950. So it was one of the, let's just say, the original people that was on it and really was based in Tel Aviv and also in Jerusalem, respectively. Kol Yisrael would operate and would really, let's just say, shine at that point in time. He would play, I think, violin melodies over there, alongside with other, I think, principal and someone else of the name Ezra Aaron, who was also another Israeli composer. Let's just say something about Ezra Aaron over here now that we're really getting into Jewish music here in today's special edition. Over here, he was, I think he lived between 1903 to 1905. Respectively, he was, especially during the Yishuv time, he was a musician, he was an influential Israeli singer, and he also came from Sephardic background, actually an Iraqi background, if I'm not mistaken, this famous singer did. And he was part of various different orchestras, let's just say, at that various different points of time. And I think he would also do some rabbinic songs. I think the tunes was taken from Rabbi Yisrael Najari, if I'm not mistaken, a famous poet. I think it was very much great in Tzfat. So that's something that we have to point out in regards to him. Now, friends, anyone tuning in at the moment, we're exploring a few of the highlights of the life of famous musician Rachamim Amar, Chazan he was. And please join our community and subscribe to the channel, friends, as we are bringing back great Jewish wisdom here on this special edition over here on this Motzei Shabbat Parshat Chai Sarah. It is over here. Okay, so let's continue over here. We're exploring Rachamim Amar's life. So we talked about how he would get more into music. And I think come on 1950, he would start working with Kol Yisrael radio station. He would be doing the violin. Letzer Nagan as Ezra Aharon, who was a famous person of that point in time, also inside the music sphere. That's something we have to point out. Okay, Va'av Shemesh Kekenar Arashi Shel Tizmoret Kol Yisrael Ba'arvit. Very nice. Sagnot Amukuzikali Rochev Muzika Yudit Sfardit, really into Spanish Israeli music, Turkit, Yevanit, Greek music, Ivrit in the Hebrew and also in Turkish. Vaya Chelek Mishne Tate Sagnon Ikrayim Hamar Chivim et Asagnon הספרדית-ירושלמית. עם זאת הורגש סגנוני היהודי בצירתו בשנים שלאחר הקדמה המדינה. שילב בצירתו אלמנטית מודרניים שהושפעו מהמוזיקה הישראלית של אותם ימים, כשמטרתו הייתה לחשוף להביא את סגנון המוזיקאי המזרחי בכלל. So very into he himself I think was very into that kind of music. לקהל רחב יותר, ואף להיט עמו לריקוד שמחות. So very interesting. So I'll just try and translate a little bit in regards to his music style will really encompass Turkish, Greek, Spanish and some Arabic, and his unique style was very unique, let's just say itself, and will incorporate also modern elements, very much influenced by Israeli music of those days. There was a goal of like bringing Mizrahi style of music in general, and would really let's just say blossom within regards to that. Okay, let's continue within regards to him over here. As we are speaking about him, he was, I think, also close with other good, let's just say, famous musicians. I think he was very popular, especially in the 1940s, 1950s, and really peak as a musician at that stage in time. He had a huge, wide audience, let's just say, for various joyous dances, joyous occasions, respectively. He would collaborate with another famous Chazan, someone named Chazan Hashem Mizrahi. Over the years, he composed about 300 songs, many of them by, let's just say, poets, Jewish musicians who immigrated to the land of Israel. And a collection, I think, of his melodies and compositions is currently, I think, at the Remnant Institute. And many of his works, let's just say, included complete prayer systems. Very interesting enough. Let's say something about Asher Mizrahi over here. I think we recorded a video about him. Not in the too distant past, he was also a famous Chazan, a famous cantor. He lived between 1890 to 1967. He was actually, I think, Tunisian descent, and he was a tenor, let's just say. He would compose 600 songs and 200 Hebrew piyutim, which is absolutely phenomenal. He would actually be part of his life, I believe, in Malta also. He would spend some big amount of times, and he actually was famous for Nagila Halua and Habibi Ya Habibi. And he would leave Tunisia, I believe, straight after the 6-Day War, if I'm not mistaken, where it became very, very difficult for Tunisians to stay inside that country. So let's go back at the moment to Rachamim Amar. So he composed about 300 songs, and obviously from the Remnant institution, a connection. He collected most of his melodies in the book Naginot Rachamim, which I think includes other things. He's, I think, Ana Bechestech, Nagila Haluya, Habibi Ya Habibi. These are famous songs, which he very much had a part of. That's something that we have to stress over within regards to that. So he was, I think that was also through Asher Mizrahi, the famous Chazan we just spoke about, and really make their marks, let's just say, on the Shabbat table itself, respectively. These music doesn't just shows how important is Jewish music in general. How it can enhance our Shabbat, how it can enhance our total experiences, and so on and so forth, and how important it actually is. So, friends, everyone tuning in, we're exploring a few of the highlights of Rachamim Amar, who was a famous Chazan of his day, and we're just exploring a few of the highlights of his life. So, please welcome to our channel, and please subscribe once again. That is something that I would state over. Okay, let's explore what within regards to him. I think there was various different Sephardi choirs. He had a part of them, really greatly contributed, let's just say. He would found, I think, the names Mirot Yisrael Choir for Boys, very interesting enough, more than 80 years ago, in the 1940s. And I think it operates actually in the Zechor Avram synagogue networks, for example, in Machne Yehuda neighborhood. He later found and direct several other choirs that were considered the best in their field, especially in the 1950s and 1960s. The last of this is Tzerei Tzion, for example, over there. And many, as I say, people would actually be students inside these choirs, respectively. I think let's explore from the famous names. Some of the name Yechiel Nahari, for example, become a poet and a cantor. Itzik Kala, Hanoch El-Balak, was he himself a prize-winning band of Givatron, and would become known as a singer of the Netana Tokef, if I'm not mistaken, the Meir Levi, and also Ezra Barnea, if I'm not mistaken, who was an educator and also a musician, expert in Sephardic, let's just say Khazanot in himself, respectively. I had writings that was associated with Rav Ben Uziel, the famous former chief rabbi, which is something that we definitely very much have to point out over here. So so he was very, very into that music and would really, really, let's just say, excel at that point in time. Now, et Rob Lechanim, kibbutz Sefer Neginot Rachamim, sham namnim ben hete lechanim. המפורסמים, חביבי יא חביבי, נגילה הליה, אנה בחסתך, יא אצל יונה ועוד. So those 3 books are important. Actually, it happens to be all these songs, let's just say in itself. So it's really involved with the Sephardi community over there. אחד מהתחומים שאמר תרגום לו רבות היה יסוד מקהילות בבתי כנסת הספרדיים. שהקים בשנות 40, I think in the 1940s, established את מקהלת נעים זמירות ישראל, is under that name, לנערים, וקבע בה סטנדרטים חדשים, בתחום כי פעלה בין השאר בבית כנסת זכור לאברהם, שבשכונת מחנה יהודה. בהמשך הקים וניהל עוד מספר מקהילות, שנחשבו כטובות, I think talking about the 50s and 60s particularly over there. So we spoke about who he was close to. Now he passed away in November in the year 1975. That was naturally on the 7th of Kislev. And he was buried at Har Azeitim burial plot. Over there, that's where he was buried. So you can say something about Har Azeitim, maybe on a separate video. But that's obviously based in Jerusalem. And in the central of Jerusalem, the main part of Jerusalem itself, respectively. And so that's just something we will add on in regards to that. So yeah, so we spoke about Rachamim Amar here today, famous poet, singer. Habibi Ya Habibi was a famous song of his, which was very much connected to, and I think also connected to the famous Hashem Mizrach also, which is something else that we should very much stress about and point out over here. Now, friends, we're a community here. We're exploring about the life and times of various different famous rabbis of yesteryear, and over here it happens to be that we are speaking about the famous cantor Rachamim Amar. If anyone you have heard about it, but very, very interesting. Now, friends, we're a community here. Please, everyone, if you feel anyone is interested in watching these videos, please share these videos, friends, to other people. We are nearing 8,000 subscribers, which is absolutely phenomenal. And any other information, thanks once again for the fantastic feedback. Hearing a lot of the occasions. That's something that I do have to stress out over here within regards to these videos. We are not just trying to speak now about rabbis, famous rabbis of yesteryear. Another project that we're trying to do at the moment is to speak about the different countries of the world, who were the great rabbis, what was the infrastructure like in those places respectively. I think it's very, very important, and it's a crucial part of this definitely this period in of itself. So please, everyone, subscribe to our channel at the moment. Let's get up to 8,000 subscribers if possible, and it's all very much thanks to you fantastic people out there. So we do other videos also here. We speak about the weekly Torah portion that's in the project that we are working on at the moment, which is every week we do for Rosh Chodesh, we do for current Jewish events also. So we've done several videos on that, which I really recommend everyone to actually look into and learn more and educate within regards to that yourselves, friends. Which everything else is good, thank God. At the moment, we just came out of Shabbat Parshat Chai Sarah, which was very, very interesting. It happens to actually be my Bar Mitzvah Parsha, respectively, over here. So that's very, very important. And everything is going well, friends, over here as we are really growing together and really, really making fantastic progress. So if you've got any other requests or anything, please don't hesitate. Let me know. I would love to hear more information and hopefully be of help. Hopefully you won't need anything. So please let me know. So friends, once again, Rabbi Chazan Rachamim Amar, we spoke about today. Famous Chazan of his time, Cantor. And let me know if you want me to record a specific video with anybody with the specific information. Let me know. I'm always available. So thanks. Please subscribe and have a great day.